Okay, now you start over.
Okay, first and foremost, I want to thank you guys
That's awesome.
for the opportunity to kind of talk about insurance. I know it's not always super exciting, but it is part of the new home purchase process. So we came here to talk about you. I brought obviously Paige and Patricia. Paige is going to kind of dive into the business side of things since it's her agency and she built it from the ground up. So
What she's really trying to say is she's the sales manager and she manages all of us. I'm the hardest one to manage. So she got me here to kind of help move things along and show you guys a little bit about what we do. Is there a clicker or something fun that I can, thank you. All right. So there we go. Okay. It's been a while since I've used like a PowerPoint. So we're in South Jordan, Utah, in Draper, so not too far. We were incorporated in 2014. I've been in the industry for about 10 years. Our business, we actually just hit our 8-year anniversary in September. So it's been really fun. We love what we do. We've got an awesome team of, like it kind of says here, 9 full-time licensed specialists, and we're continuing to grow. So always hiring, always looking to add to our team. And we've got a really wonderful group of women over there. Like we were kind of talking about earlier, we are a multi-state agency. So right now we are licensed in all of these wonderful states here. But if you do have any referrals outside of these states that are listed, we can still help. There's not one city, state, probably even country that we can't help you guys with. We'll figure it out. We like to be like that one-stop shop so that you guys have us as a resource to help refer out or obtain quotes for you and your borrowers. And then of course, if there is a state in which you do business frequently, we're more than willing to get licensed in that state. We've done it a time or two, and we're more than happy to do that because sometimes it does make it a little bit easier if we're able to source it for you guys a little bit quicker than of course doing it outside of our company and the companies that we're appointed with. So that's a little bit about our team, and oh, there we go.
The one underneath
It's
it
harder
is the
than the
back
PowerPoint
button.
page. Okay, there we go. This goes back.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. So now we'll click forward again. Okay, so we like to think of ourselves as insurance superheroes. Unlike what Megan said, I do think insurance is fun, and it is, right? It is so fun. If you didn't think it was fun, you guys will leave here hopefully feeling otherwise. It is our job truly to make yours easier. A lot of the times people do think of insurance and they think, oh my goodness, this is a headache, what a pain in the butt. I think we've all had situations where, or if you haven't personally, you've known someone where you guys got a referral, you did everything that you guys could, you found the home of their dreams, you guys are getting ready to close, and all of a sudden the borrower didn't have insurance, or all of a sudden they failed to realize that you were in a flood zone, or the insurance policy was incorrectly done because they didn't know what the expectations were needed for loan officers, requirements and things that need to be done to make it sufficient for the closing. If you haven't experienced that, then you guys are very lucky, but it could come up a time or two. So that's what we're kind of here to do, is to prevent that from happening from start to finish so that things go smoothly for your transactions and for your clients as well. Another thing that you might not realize is I think we're all in the business of trying to differentiate ourselves, trying to make the customer experience unique. And so for you guys as real estate agents, you might think, well, we don't do much with insurance. Contrary to that, there are agents out there that do. So if you guys are kind of looking to create that customer experience that is unique, make sure that you are implementing some type of process to help them with that insurance piece, because it is a confusing part of the new buying process, especially if it's your first home. So that can kind of just help you guys go the extra mile for your clients as well, being able to say, hey, really early on, here's the company that we recommend or the person that we recommend. They'll be able to help walk you guys through things. It will eliminate a lot of stress on their end, and they'll be extremely happy. Also, if they've ever been in a purchase experience already with a real estate agent outside of you guys here, they'll probably have recognized the fact that they didn't refer them to an insurance agent. And so when they kind of see that difference, they'll see you guys want that extra mile. And it does make a difference. We've had people say. So along those lines, like I said, it's our job to make your jobs easier. And the biggest piece of that stems from making sure that everything from start to finish does go smooth. But we do it a little bit differently than most. We don't ask for an arm, a leg, and your fifth ancestor's blood type to get you guys a quote. So we'll do all the research for you. Oftentimes when you are getting a quote, it seems like they're asking for quite a bit of information. What people don't realize is we will almost look everything up for you. It's crazy what we can find out about you guys. I'm sure you all know that even in the real estate world. But once we can get your name and date of birth, we can pretty much find everything. So we'll kind of do that, and what we can't find, of course, we'll let you guys know or your clients. But typically speaking, all you really need is, like I said, first and last name, date of birth. Of course, it's very beneficial to have the property address that you guys are selling the market. So other than that, we'll pretty much do the rest. If you've got other additional information such as loan amount or the OI request, that's helpful, but we don't have to have it, and we'll still be able to produce options for your clients. We can also produce them for you guys directly to give to your clients, or we can work with your borrowers one-on-one. It's just, whatever works best for you guys. We like to kind of customize it to fit your needs because everybody does business a little bit different. So that's a big piece though, is convenience. We will make sure that, the clients feel also not overwhelmed by that process.
How come you want the loan amount over the purchase price?
So very good question. So oftentimes people have like a they kind of get confused as to why our insured value is not what the market value might be or what the purchase price is. When we're actually identifying what we need to put on a dwelling coverage for your borrower, we take into consideration all of the attributes specific to the home itself. So we have a fun little system, back to the fun insurance stuff, where we could go in and type in every single detail. And what it does is it then kicks up and says, here's the cost to rebuild the home. Land is uninsurable, so we don't insure land. So when your borrower is calling for a quote, oftentimes an insurance agent will say, what's the purchase price? We don't want to ask that because we don't want your clients to be overinsured or underinsured. If they're overinsured, they're of course going to be paying more for something they don't need. And we all know why being uninsured would be not a beneficial thing to do. But so to your point, the reason that we don't typically go off of purchase price is because we'll go off of the actual value needed to insure the home itself. And then just kind of to add to that, because we have 45 minutes, right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I usually I talk too much most of the time. So to add to that a little bit as well, as you guys know, because of the market, it can fluctuate, and we also have inflation protection. So when the clients call in and we get these policies ready for them, we usually set them up with what we call a Gold Star package. This will automatically include an additional 20% on top of what we list your dwelling at. So that way they've got a little bit of protection if, the market just happens to change between right now and the time that they renew, and end up with our wonderful customer service team who helps kind of walk them through a new evaluation. So really good question.
Thanks.
All right, so we also understand speed and reliability. So we obviously live in a world where everybody wants everything right now. And so we are, understanding of that, and we will work to ensure that we're being extremely quick for you guys. We found that most of the time, crazy enough, when we end up getting a client who does call in, if they feel confident in the services, happy with the price, of course, and they trust in who referred them, they'll usually be able to walk away after that initial call with the policy that they wanted. They'll feel confident in it, and they can kind of move forward with things. Oftentimes people do either go with their auto carrier, for example, who might be like Geico, Progressive, a lot different than our agency where we're a direct agent. Still a great company if anybody has either of those, they're great carriers, but a little bit of a different vibe because of course we're right here locally in the city or the towns or even the states. For out of state, there's agents there, but so it's a little bit different, but it also allows us to connect with the client on a different level that keeps things moving quickly. If they get a quote from Progressive, for example, if they do end up needing to call back, you call back at a 1-800 number, right? So it's a little bit different, which makes your loan officer experience a little bit more positive as well, because we're able to really just move things along quickly. So that's a big piece. Of course, price is important. It's not necessarily what we drive off of, because as important as it is, there's a lot more to your insurance policy than the premium. Contrary to what most people think, which is the bottom number of the page, it's really the last thing you want to look at. There's so many little details in between that we'll be able to look at for you. So speaking to price specifically though, we are very competitive. Most of the time, if we're actually to take two policies and put them side by side, apples to apples, we're going to be 50% lower. Typically speaking, if we're higher, people think, well, your premium was more. There's a reason for it. So if you ever hear your borrower say that, or they're not understanding why ours came up higher, I can assure you we can get it exactly where they're probably at, if not lower, but at what cost, right? Or what are we going to take away? And what are you willing to sacrifice, for that bottom line number? So that's something that we really try to go over with them so that people understand, because they're purchasing an asset. It's something that they need to properly and sufficiently protect, and there's much more to it than, of course, just the premium. So We'll go over that with them, but it is good to know most of the time, even with all of the extra coverages we can include, we're still even cheaper. And then DTI issues. I don't know if you guys deal with DTI very much. I don't know if any of you have had an experience where a loan officer called because there was a DTI issue or something happened after maybe you guys referred it out. But oftentimes a loan officer, what they'll then do is call the insurance company. Most of them can't do much, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Some of it is because maybe they are a 1-800 number and they're not set up in the way that we are to customize that a little bit more. Some of it also does boil down to different, not techniques necessarily, but different educational resources and things that we've done as an agency to ensure that we understand how to deal with these properly. So if there are DTI issues, oftentimes what you guys might not realize is the insurance company has saved it. And that's sometimes the first place that they do go, because it's something that if can be done is easy to adjust, other than trying to like hurry and pay off some bill that they, debt that they have that they don't have the money to pay off or something of that nature. So just a little bit of background on that so that you guys kind of know, or if you ever hear, of course, any of your clients or mortgage lenders or amongst each other, that there is DTI issues going on, we can help. There's pretty much almost no scenario in which I can't figure it out or that Megan can't figure it out and get it where it needs to be for the closing, all within reason, of course. There are coverages at that point that, contrary to the previous statement I made, we do have to start taking away. We're set up to where we have a process in place so that after the closing, we're able to go back in, fix the coverages to where they felt they were sufficient, back to what they need. Closing can move along as it needs to be sufficient to the loan, but allows them to get through the closing, no delays, no 2-week waits or anything like that. So we can help with that. And then we also have a really solid place in our process in place for after the fact. That way, you're not sitting there for the next 12 months with minimal coverage that was necessary to help get to the spot that you guys needed to be for DTI. And then a little bit more about just, again, the speed and reliability, some of the processes that we have. We can have home quotes, EOIs, pretty much everything. It says 30 to 60, that's our safeguard. Realistically speaking, if you guys ever needed anything, we could have a quote to you guys in 10 minutes. We actually got someone just yesterday, and I don't know what happened because I didn't ask. I never asked. But I never want to ask actually, but something happened and they seriously needed something. They were like in closing like this, right? And I don't know what it was. I don't even know how they got to closing without recognizing something like this, but they did. And they needed it right then. And so I believe it was Tasha and Casey, and I said, we need to get this in 10 minutes. They had it over in like 6, so they were 4 minutes early. But they were that fast and they were able to move along and get their closing done, which was obviously a really big deal for the client. I don't think that client will ever leave now because they were another agency that, prior to that almost cost them their closing, and that was upsetting to them. So that will never get there with us because like we talked about, we have processes to where we'll make sure it doesn't. But if it does, or if you guys have situations, call us, text us, email us, whatever time. It could be 1 a.m. You guys would be surprised at things I sent during times. Like I had a baby once and I was in the labor room like, hey, can you guys get this I sent, So we get it how important it is. So we can have them back quick. Also, hopefully this goes without saying, but we will obviously respect the relationship you guys have, even all the clients that you refer our way. It's important to us, and we understand that if you guys refer it looks bad on you, right? If we're not doing our job, if you referred somebody to us and we're not giving them the professional courtesies that we're promising to you guys and that you expect when sending them our way. So you can always be confident that we will treat all of your referrals really well, and we will make sure that we're exceeding expectations as well.
Hey, quick question before we move on. You mentioned really quickly the customer service and reevaluating.
Yes.
That how often do you guys do that?
So we can do it as much as they would like. We have a couple, this is a loaded question. So typically speaking, we have our annual reviews. So if they're on a homeowner's policy, it's a 12-month term.
Gotcha.
And so we do it at 12 months. Auto policies can be 6 months or 12. But we also have a 90-day follow-up. So one of our new business specialists, her name is Lydia. She actually calls to make sure that everybody feels confident in their sign-up process, that they were happy with their experience, that they don't have any questions, that there's no changes needed, because sometimes when people are buying a home, it can be like a frazzling experience for them, and they're not necessarily thinking everything that they may have otherwise thought through. So we kind of use that as an opportunity to call them once things have settled, they've been in their home for 3 months, make sure that they don't have questions, that they feel comfortable with everything, that everything does look up to par. And then typically speaking with the inflation guard, it allows us, that eight month difference, is my mouth right there? Maybe 9 month difference there, to where we will then again reevaluate it on an extremely deep level, which is where kind of our customer service team comes into play, and we'll call them a month prior to the renewal to
Nice.
do a full-on analysis of everything on the accounts, so.
Cool.
But we can do it at any time, like we do have clients that seriously come in like every 2 weeks, you know.
But
like that's-
annually, it's just part of the
Yeah.
process.
Yes. All right, now this is a fun one, so I don't know why, but I always like a challenge. So ineligible risks, we can help with those. So there is a lot of times, again, back to, you know, what you guys get to do, where all of a sudden something will happen and like the insurance company is canceling their policy because of a roof, or they find out that like the flood policy was written with a private insurer other than the National Flood Association, or, you know, something happens that was unanticipated and nobody realized it because it just, you know, maybe there's lots of reasons that they might not realize it, but that's where most carriers don't necessarily have all the resources that we've become equipped to, that we've trained for, the things that we've kind of put in place ourselves and the appointments that we've obtained, so that we're able to do all the things for you guys. There are a lot of carriers, I'm sure you've all heard of brokers and things like that. We're a captive agency, but it's a little bit different than what the perception is. So we actually are appointed with, oh my gosh, it's gotta be at least 100 different carriers. So we can pretty much do business through anyone. Now, obviously, within reason I say that, I can't do business with farmers, but they're also a captive agency, you know, so, but I can pretty much do anything that a broker can do. Now, what the brokers can't do, and none of them can, is write for American Family. Typically speaking, American Family, this is one of the reasons our rates are gonna be very competitive, they're gonna cut in half, the products are really great, but in those situations where something's happened and your borrower just doesn't know what to do, and neither does their broker or their captive agent, we will figure it out, and that's a promise. There's not one piece of business, I always tell everybody, that we cannot write, we will figure it out for you guys. So we do have access to high-risk companies as well. I'm sure you guys have heard of some of the high-risk companies out there. Burns and Wilcox does really well with, you know, some of those higher risk, Lloyd's of London, things like that, that we're affiliated with and appointed through, so we can assist with those. And then we also understand how to write high-risk business. It's something that is not as easy as it sounds, and not everybody should just write a high-risk policy. There's a lot of specifics that go with it, and so you need to be very careful of what you're doing when you're writing a policy such as that, because just because you have coverage doesn't actually mean you have coverage. So that's something that we are all very familiar with, that we're able to kind of help walk you guys through and your borrowers through, or your buyers. And this just kind of gives a little example of some of the companies that might sound familiar to you guys. We kind of talked about Burns and Wilcox. American Family actually owns the General. You've probably seen like the Costco mailers lately, or maybe you've heard of it. American Family, yep. So that's us. Progressive, we don't own Progressive, but I do like Flow a lot, so that'd be cool and all. But we can at least write through them. American Modern, Foremost, all the fun things. So we can pretty much do anything you guys need. All right. Now, obviously, we just talked a lot about homeowners insurance, which is all great, but there's so much more to that. And we do realize that cost efficiency is probably, you know, important to all of us. Most of us don't have just loads of money coming out of our pockets, but if we do, why would we want to spend it on insurance, right? So we like to try and really maximize the customer savings. These are a couple of the additional things that we of course offer, which is everything. The only thing we really don't write much of is health insurance, but again, we have somebody that we're affiliated with that can assist with that. Outside of that, there's obviously various things that your customers can receive discounts for. Home, auto, life, business, commercial, we do bonds if you guys ever need something like that for your purchases. Oh, I'm sorry, I saw talking and I wasn't sure. All right.
Yeah.
Are we good? Just check if I have any questions. Okay. So, and then we do farm ranch as well, believe it or not, like we put our boots on and we'll go over, we'll inspect homes, we'll do all the things. We wear lots of different hats in the agency. But yes, it kind of goes without saying, the more that you bundle, the better the price. Overall, it's going to give your borrowers great premiums on their home and also their other lines as well. Our other lines of insurance are extremely cost effective as well. I think maybe there's a couple that could attest in here, and I won't shout out names, but you guys are all welcome if you'd like to, you know, talk about benefits of the company.
Like hundreds of dollars.
Tell the story.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You guys can totally tell the story if you want.
They saved us so much money, and also my husband his truck broke down on the way home from hunting up the canyon, had a tow, way expensive tow. Anyway, didn't have time to call them, called the tow company. I called and talked to Patricia. She literally sent me a refund within 1 day.
Thanks.
That's how we do it. Super easy.
I didn't know we were gonna
Super
test
easy.
them, so like I really I promise. That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that.
Yes.
Yes, that is.
Quick.
Yeah,
easy.
I think like bias is one thing, but they actually have.
And I'm
saved-
not related, is that?
That's
Yeah.
We
You
didn't
were
pay her.
We're like slipping dollar bills.
Also, I've sent them to my mom, who's a lender, and she's been sending her clients to them, and she like already had her preferred insurance person and started using Megan, and they've all been saving a lot, especially with the debt to income ratios. Like that's a
Yeah.
huge thing. If you didn't know what DTI is, debt to income ratio.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay,
Acronyms.
but because that is a big
Everybody in
thing.
this room should know.
You should, but there's also new people here. You never know.
Drew, I'll give you a pass.
He probably knows.
No, that is awesome, and thank you guys, of course. We appreciate your business, your referrals, and all of that good stuff. But we really do. We try to keep things cost effective. We're never gonna just throw things on that you don't need. We're gonna give you what you guys do need with the proper protection and truly still try to hit as much as we can for your savings. And we do it continuously, so we'll kind of continue looking through your policy so that it doesn't keep, like, you've heard those stories, like creeping up and all of a sudden they're paying like literal arms and legs for their insurance and they never knew it. Well, we'll keep analyzing that so we can keep the price pretty, consistent over the years. Those are some of the discounts that we offer. Like, where are we at with time? I don't wanna go over.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, you're way good.
Is anybody too bored?
No.
Okay, all right. So these are some of the discounts that we offer, claims free, customer longevity, new home, of course, that kind of goes without saying. Home security, age of customer, believe it or not, that is a discount. Home purchase discount, welcome home, and we do have a discount for roofing. So if anybody that you guys are working with has a new roof, it's something that people don't realize, and we do ask, but not everybody knows. And so if you guys know, always kind of like shoot that tip to us, because it actually is a pretty significant discount. All right, now, you probably wonder, okay, what happens after we feed them to the wolves over here and they take on the client and we hopefully get to sign them up and happily care for their insurance needs? Well, I'll see, now I'm just doing it again. This thing needs like a double back button. Okay, so this is where our wonderful departments come in. So we have actually structured our agency extremely unique to the industry in general. And we have we have several departments, but we have a sales department and we have a service department. They're gonna kind of talk about each of their departments that they manage and that they run, and kind of how those flow and how we structure it, because we want them to feel after they have signed up that they're getting a continued positive experience. We want the referral that you guys sent our way to feel confident in what you guys did when you gave them our information. And so we want to keep that relationship solid. A couple things that I know they'll kind of talk about is the way we've structured it, and of course, our wonderful sales manager, Megan, will kind of discuss about what happens when they're referred, and then Patricia is going to talk about what happens when everything's kind of settled. Now we're at that 90 days that we just talked about. And where do they go now? Do they call in and talk to various different people? Do they have one person? Does everybody get to talk to Paige, or does everybody get to talk to Megan? Probably not realistic, but I wish. So we'll kind of go over what that looks like. And so I will, with further ado, hand it over to Megan, and good luck with this one.
Okay, so like Paige said, I am the sales team manager. I have been in insurance for almost 3 years now. I actually started with sales with life and health insurance. And then I came to Paige's agency about a year ago, and now I'm fully licensed with property and casualty as well. So what it looks like when you guys send your referrals our way, most of them will come directly to me. And then I will delegate if it's a different department or where they need to go, in a timely manner, of course. We get quotes to either you guys, or we can also communicate with your buyers and get them quotes, communicate with them, find out about bundling and all those things. And then we have Casey in our office. She's actually the blonde in the middle. She works really closely with our lenders. Once we get to that point, she gets EOIs, EOI updates, anything like that. So evidence of insurance for those of you, those newcomers. And so she's really great at that. Tasha, which is next to Paige. Yep, she is our operations manager. She also works closely with incoming sales and lender referrals and agent referrals and things like that. Lexi is next to Casey. Yes, thank you. She's actually our marketer, one of our marketers, I guess. She goes out and keeps those relationships and builds those relationships with new agents and lenders. And then Lydia is on the end. She's actually our new business specialist. So she is the one that handles all of our new business within that 90 days. She makes sure that everything went smoothly. They get all their discounts. They sign up for what they need to. They sign their applications, everything like that. So that's our sales team. We have a pretty great process of, delegating and making sure things go to the right places so that we can get you guys what you need in that timely manner. So, yeah. Patricia.
Yes, all right, guys, I'm Patricia. I have been in the business for, it's gonna make me sound old, but for 21 years. I started when I was 17, so I'm 38. And I was a producer for a lot of years. For 14 years, I worked for Farmers Insurance, great company. Made a lot of money, had a lot of stress, and now I am a mom and I'm married, and I like to do customer service because I love to make sure that our customers are taken care of. There's myself, and I don't think Jen's on here. Jen's a new addition, and I
was
don't.
gonna crop around her somehow, but it looked weird, so.
Yeah, so we have Jen and Patricia and Kimberly, and so I'm kind of the head of the customer service
Oh,
department.
hit the button.
Oh,
Bam.
okay,
There's
Kim. There's Kim, and there's Patricia, and then we went over Casey and Livia. So, and Kimberly's also been in the business for a long time, like 10, 15 years as well. So what our goal is we want your guys as customers to feel, because you guys are already going out on a limb and trusting us, right, to take care of them, trusting Paige and trusting Megan. So we have a process where after 30 days, so Livia, she takes care of all of our new people for the first 30 days so that they're just working with her. So they've got one solid person after they've talked to these two. And then after that, we have 3 account specialists, and we divide all of the letters into 3 different groups. And we do that so that people know who their account representative is. So they're not calling in and getting like 9 different people every time. I talked to Megan last time, I talked to so-and-so this time, like they know who they're dealing with and they feel taken care of. And so it's a great process that we have there. We also, what I love about our agency is we take care of everyone. Like, I didn't even know that you were gonna be here, or like, so we were like, Patricia did it. I'm like, yes, like I love to take care of people, because everybody though, right? If they have a 72 shed pickup and it has liability only with the lowest limits ever, or if they come in with 3 Mercedes, I'm gonna treat those 2 people the same. And that's how we do with our clients. We get right back to them. We put great notes in. I'm the note Nazi in our office. They all make fun of me. Like if they call in and they're like, hey, I'm gonna call you back in 10 minutes. I document, he said he will call back in 10 minutes. Like I'm a freak with notes, but we do that so that we are thorough and so that our clients are taken care of. It's a big deal. Prices and everything, like Paige was saying. So we like to, the goal is not only to save money, but to keep, I'm also in charge of the retention. So we don't want to, we can write business all day, every day, all the different states, get all the people in, but a big part of my job in the agency is to make those people stay, make them want to stay, right? So that they're with us for a long time and so that we can take care of them. We've had people that have had to switch or moved out of state and then moved back to Utah and then they come back to us. And those are the best, like the best people to me. So we really take pride in taking care of our clients. We want them to feel comfortable with us, but we also want to continue to make you guys look good as well, because we know that you're putting your name on the line when you trust us. So I think that's it.
See, she didn't know you guys were gonna be here. She didn't even know she was gonna be here.
I didn't know till like yesterday. I'm like, yeah.
So like, click the button again.
Yeah.
So you probably spoke to most stuff.
I probably did. See, that was all just on the fly. So I don't know. Let's see what I said. Let's check my work. Yeah, so.
Pretty much you're that good.
Yeah.
That was
Does anyone have any
You
questions?
didn't even do the slide for that.
Exactly.
So would you say that most of your business comes from lender referral or agent referral when it comes to the home transaction stuff? I mean, like how many people here work with an insurance company like this and hook up your client, or do you depend on your lender to do it?
Just recently I started, and you guys, maybe you should talk about this.
Yeah.
I don't know, like the Friday thing, like if we have new buyers, they can reach out. So
Oh, yeah.
if you get someone under contract, I will email Megan, my new buyers,
Mhm.
or whatever, and then give them their information, and then I also let my buyer know, like, hey, these guys are gonna reach out. so that they know and it's not like random, just like title, but now it's gonna be part of like my new buyer
It's not part of
email,
my
like,
process.
you know what I
so-
mean, like, now it's part of my new buyer email, like where I'm sending out the contracts and all that, and then they're gonna start working with them as well. Even though the lender's gonna be doing this as well, it's just kind of getting ahead of schedule.
However, I feel like lenders don't actually give them a choice, they just kind of sign on there.
Yeah.
Well, think about it,
You
most
know
of
what I
your
mean?
clients, even when you're talking about home warranty or home inspectors or something like that, they're like, well, just use whoever you
Yeah.
recommend,
Yeah.
right? Because they trust you to guide them in the right direction. So the same thing with lenders, it's like, do you have an insurance provider? And a lot of times they'll just defer to the lender, well, who do you normally use? Oh, that's fine,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
but it's nice
I
to
like
have
to go
a-
to the bundle thing
yesterday.
and having more
talked about
time
that
to look
yesterday.
at their whole picture
Yeah.
instead of just
I
getting
said it,
the
we
cert
talked
for the
about
house,
it
Yeah.
right? For closing.
Yeah, and we probably do work with more lenders than agents. But we do work with some agents, and I actually have flyers back here that we have agents include in like their new buyer packets, or they email them to them. Things like that, if you guys wanna use them, I can email you a copy, or you can make copies, however you wanna do that, but yeah, however you guys wanna do it, we're happy to reach out to your clients and kind of move that process along and work with them directly, or if it's easier for you guys just to have a quote ready and you can present it to them along with the process, then we can do that as well. So,
So you guys are asking questions so well, like so subsequently, because that was part of our next slide. To your point, and I like to be cheesy, like let's see what these little things we brought, but so if you wanna get aboard on our train here, our
Yes.
insurance train, then here's a couple things and ways that we do work with the realtors that we're partnered with. So to your original question too, it's actually a pretty good mix. Lenders can have a little bit more of a say, because to your guys' point, sometimes people are like, my lender set it up, when they didn't necessarily, but they did, right? So they do have a big impact, which is why maybe our percentage is slightly higher with how many lenders that we work with versus realtors. But we also do work with a high percentage of realtors, and you guys are kind of like the bread and butter of this situation, because to your point, if you're able to help refer your client early on when they're under contract like that, it will help the entire process, because it was early enough on to where they have, you know, typically, I don't know how fast you guys are doing your closings here, but you know, they have at least a couple weeks, if not a little bit more. And so a couple of ways that our realtors like to work with us to make things more convenient with them, we've kind of listed here. So oftentimes the biggest thing that we see is mega and flyers, which is kind of what you guys may include, but at the very beginning, when they finally go under contract, most of them have something like a, hey, here's what happens next. Congratulations, you've gone under contract. Well, now what? In the list of all the fun things that you guys put in there, there's a section where they're putting, please contact the Paige Wilkinson Agency or Megan Nazer or whoever you guys want to, you know, Megan Nazer. But I know their insurance company, but you know, to each their own. So you know, then they put their where you put Megan's name. So at that point, you'll put that on there. They'll kind of know they'll get our fun little colorful flyer in there. And oftentimes we do get the borrower reaching out, because like I said, they don't really know what the process is. But sometimes they don't, or we have this natural ability to procrastinate things oftentimes. So they saw it on there and they were gonna get to it, but they never did. So that's where that weekly list comes into play that you guys were talking about here. So what we do is they will actually send us, most of the realtors we work with will send us a list of their borrowers weekly, and they usually have their transaction coordinators send it, but some of them send it directly as well. Obviously you guys know your clients best, so typically they'll put something in there like, hey, like Bob likes this, or this is one of their hobbies, or don't call Bob, you know, and so
Yeah.
then we kind of know,
We pay attention.
and you guys all have clients to where maybe you know them best and they would not like to get a call from us. And you guys can always put that, like, do not call them, but I wanted to give you a heads up, right, that they are closing and they might call you. Or you just delete their name out of it entirely, like, you know, whatever works for you guys works for us. But they do oftentimes send us that list, and in the packet that they originally send with the flyer, they'll usually put something like, you know, feel free to reach out to them. We'll also have them contact you for an insurance quote to help you guys. So that kind of gave them the heads up, and you're not just like I said, throwing them to the wolves to where they call and think that we're some solicitor that like got their name from a list. And so that way we can say, hey, Sammy referred you guys to let us know that you're purchasing a new home. We're here to help get you guys a little rate and blah, 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 and we'll kind of take it from there. And so we can reach out and get all the information. That's why it's kind of a double whammy. If you guys are comfortable with it, the Friday listing, it's always worked really super well. And then we will communicate with them. So of course we can help them from start to finish, but we can also communicate with you guys. If you guys would prefer that we send you guys the quote and you present it, you totally can. Otherwise, we'll kind of do all of that for you. And then also, kind of like, again, Sam was saying, if you have any lenders that you guys work with or that are preferred lenders and you work really closely together, that is obviously a close-knit relationship, and having those processes and that entire group all subsequent really makes a huge difference. So if there is any that you can refer that, might be interested in hearing from Megan, and that way you guys all have this really solid and uniform process, it is one of the most effective things that you can do. And it really makes a difference, and I swear your lenders will thank you. So it's wonderful. But, they'll be bringing you guys more gifts, so. But,
It works.
yes, so along those lines, again, we kind of keep talking about customization. Whatever works for you guys, we'll seriously do. We've done the craziest of things, and we will do it. We'll go to people's houses if you want. We'll go to your houses if you want. We will just, we're happy to do whatever. So sometimes we'll come in groups, but
Yeah.
whatever works. So we'll just, whatever's more convenient, like you guys tell us, and we are at your service. And that is all of the, fun stuff. Now, this is the really fun stuff. So we always do quarterly referral campaigns. These are just kind of a small thanks to you guys. I do have a funny story that I'll have to tell about one of the referral campaigns we did, but typically speaking, it's kind of similar to this. Now, these might seem boring because it's similar each time, but that is because we have a lot of fun insurance regulations and rules as to what we can do. One time we did a TV giveaway, which is not allowed. And luckily, I didn't know that. And so after they reached out, they're like, hey, you can't do these TV giveaways. And I'm like, well, there is TVs for $100. And I looked online and there is little Vizios like this big. So we steer away from the TVs, but we do fun things still. And so when you guys send us a referral, we'll put your name in our little jar. And we do some of them, sometimes we'll do them monthly, but we always do them quarterly at least. Just kind of depends on what's going on. And so that way it kind of makes it fun for you guys as well. And if you guys win, we are all about also like kind of reciprocating. So anything we kind of do even to get you guys exposure, not only the company that you guys represent, but your own little individual businesses, well, not little, but your individual businesses, we'll also do that. And so it kind of makes it fun for you guys, because if you win, then we get to almost give you guys that exposure as well all over the place. So it makes it fun. And with that too, by the way, the question slide is wrong because of this thing, I just can't figure it out. So with that, I'm too spazzy, I think that's what it is, because they're all like round and collected, and I'm over here like trying to manufacture this thing. So anyways, along those lines, we also, by the way, do, if you have anything that you guys are client events or things that you guys need like sponsors for, or assistance with in what you guys do for your marketing, we're happy to participate. So, let us know if you guys have client parties that you guys need help funding for, or that you guys would like us to be there to help, bring gifts for, or just do things, like let us know and we'll do that too. And now, hopefully, without further ado, does anybody have any questions?
First of all, amazing. I love what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
So before I had my real estate license, I was in insurance, and I was trying to get our brokers to do this, and nobody really was on board because they're like, agents aren't gonna do it. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Second, so you pretty much have every carrier. You guys do stuff with Bear River too.
We can do pretty much anything. Bear River, so there's a couple that will outsource, and Bear River, this is very specific niche, but there's a couple of agents that we work with, and it depends on the state. So if it isn't out of state, typically for Utah, we have like our general person that we kind of go to that helps us. Her name's Lana. But outside of that, if it's an out of state referral too, is Bear River actually out of state? I'm
Bear
trying to think,
River's
did they
maybe
expand?
Utah.
Okay.
They're just Utah.
Okay, I think so too. If it's another carrier though, and they're out of state, we can still get that. But for Bear River, we have a lady that we use, her name's Lana, so
Nice.
we can still do Bear River.
So
but-
you just have different referral partners for ones that you don't carry.
Exactly, yeah.
Cool. Very good.
Anybody on Zoom? Unmute yourself if you have a question.
Everyone should just send them your information and
Yeah,
just see if
you
they,
got mine, I'm sorry.
yeah, it's
I like
like,
it.
just see if they can beat what you guys are paying now, like
Yes.
even for your personal stuff,
Oh,
because
yeah.
Because they can't.
I can guarantee they can.
It's true. We will
Okay,
find
maybe not
out and
guaranteed,
beat
but
your rate for you.
Pretty positive.
Just the customer service piece too, right? And the fact that you actually are calling and doing checkups and stuff. and
We
90-day
do.
Stuff like.
Yeah. Yeah,
most
even,
agencies don't do that, they really don't care, right? They get
Right.
The business, and then they talk to them when somebody calls.
absolutely, I've
And
seen
then if
it.
somebody tries to call, nobody answers, or
Yeah.
they can't
Yeah.
get anybody, they can't questions
That's
answered.
the
it's
main
frustrating.
thing. Yeah, they have, people don't, because a lot of times they just want to get them in, right? Write it. Hopefully they say, keep writing, and that's not our motto at all. And so like once a year, even, if, so the homes, they renew once a year, the autos once a year or 6 months. But we have Livia, who we were talking about earlier, part of her main job is to go in and 30 days before every single renewal, and we have quite a few clients that Paige has built up. 30 days before we're reaching right out to them, then we're calling them, we're emailing them, hey, can you guys come in? Can we call you? Can we set up a time? We actually set up a time, and I'll have it blocked out on my calendar for 30 to 45 minutes just to call like, hey, what's up? How you guys doing? Did you get anything new? Here's what your renewal looks like. Here's what we can do to save you. So I'll even look into the savings. Paige is really great that way. She doesn't care about, she wants us to get it as low as we can because we retain them, we take care of them.
Right.
So some agents, I've worked for agents where they're like, if they don't say anything about the price, keep it where it's at. Do you want to keep it? And Paige is like, no, did we try everything? Did you call? And so that's part of our thing too. We want to make sure that we're not only getting them in the door, but it's my job to keep them in.
And she does a really good job on it. too.
Because I really do care.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It makes a difference,
It does.
Thank you.
you know?
Do you have a contact slide on that?
We thought we had all the things there, but I emailed you.
Okay, have you pull it up if you did?
And luckily, I can go, for those on Zoom, go grab one of those little flyers we can put up to the camera. Otherwise, she did bring a couple goodies. Yes, and,
I'll post it in our Facebook
okay.
group too,
We
guys.
can post it in the chat, I'll grab one of them.
okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
For future reference, we'll add that to our slide.
Make
I like that.
note later.
I will make a note.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm gonna be coming on these now or
No,
if I'm
you
gonna
have
have
to.
to show my future, but I'm down to do whatever.
Cool, we'll put that in the chat. That was awesome content, guys.
Well, thank you so
Thank you.
much. Is that better?
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, hang tight on Zoom, guys. We have a sponsor that brought us lunch here in the office. I'm gonna bring Debbie up here. Speaking of lenders, Debbie's been here a couple of times before. So Debbie, if you're ready, you wanna come up front. So Debbie's with Security Home Mortgage. She's had her team here. I want her to tell a little bit about her team dynamic. Debbie, Mark and Mike. Mark and Mike and Debbie are kind of a team. They've done other trainings for us. Debbie's even brought in like specialists in different areas like Facebook ads. Kevin Smolin was his name. He did a great job. So she's becoming a regular here. She, even though she didn't even really mean to be here today, she's here and taking care of us. So tell them a little bit about your team and what you guys can do at Security Home Mortgage.
Okay, so yeah, one of the main things that we pride ourselves on being different is coming up with a way to help you guys get your offers accepted in this crazy market. So we came up with the 10-day close process. Has everyone heard this before, or did I miss a few people? I think I got it for most of you all last time, but yeah, so what we do is if you guys send us your buyers ahead of time before the day of, we do a fully underwritten process. So it's more like a 2 to 3 week pre-approval instead of the 1 to 2 days, which we typically do. And we still do those. If they have an offer they want the same day, we can do it. And that's like a 21 to 30 day to close. But on the 10-day close, we fully underwrite them. We run the whole drive report, so any undisclosed child support or tax liens or anything like that, you can't lie to your lender, we will find it. But instead of finding it in the process while you guys are negotiating and inspections and appraisals are going on, we've already taken care of this ahead of time, so your buyer is completely ready to go. We do a certification on your pre-approval letter saying they do have a Security Plus 10-day close certification. And so and your listing agent knows that offer is good to go. We can close in 10 days. We also offer the rush appraisals on all of those. And we have our own appraisal management company, so we have a really good turnaround on those. We have in-house underwriting, in-house lending, so everything is very smooth and fast. Like he was mentioning, we have an entire team. We're not solo loan officers, we work as a team. So if one of us does go out of town, nothing is being left behind. There's 5 of us that work on every single file. And so I've got my processor right next to me. I've got 2 transaction managers working on my loans. And so it's really smooth, fun. I love it. We have a lot of team support like you guys do. So there's a really strict process there to be a loan officer there. We have to complete a lot of extra training beyond just what is standard. And so everyone knows their stuff and they know the workarounds. We're really good about helping people that the banks say no to. In fact, we like to say we don't ever say no. Sometimes we say not yet, but then we always say here's how. So a lot of people will send someone with low credit. A bank will just say no. And we will say, this is how I can get you there. And this is how fast we think we can do it. So we have the Wayfinder program. We have the rapid rescores for if they just need 20 points higher, we can usually do that in-house. I have a really great third-party partner for credit repair that I work with. She's got a 90-day process rather than something like Lexington that's month after month after month, and you don't even know how long it's going to take. So, and then she's really good about constantly referring to you too. So when she's going through that 90-day process to get their credit up where it needs to be, she's like, well, Samantha, is going to be a great realtor for you, and she's constantly keeping your mind on top of their awareness, keeping that loyalty with your customer while they're going through that process. So we also have some loan matrices over there. I wasn't handing them out today because Mike kind of already did a big long explanation on that. But you guys are welcome to each take one of those. If you have any questions about like the minimum down payment, the 3% for the first time home buyer, the 5% for if they're not first time, and I think you guys probably know that's anyone who hasn't owned in the last 3 years. The conforming loan limits, right now, they're about halfway down your page, but we do have one product already that is letting us do a 75-day lock on the new conforming loan limits. So if you're having some problems there and your buyer doesn't want to go jumbo and they're right on the edge, we have one product that PennyMac is already letting us do a 75-day lock on the new conforming loan limits. So we'll get you new ones when the standard is across the board there. But other than that, I think that's
Do we have this on PDF?
you should, but if
Okay.
not, I'll send it to you.
Probably from one of the previous ones. I'll double check. But for you guys on Zoom, we'll double check and make sure we have this on PDF and we'll post it for you guys.
Yeah, and then on the other side, it's got a list of like the pre-approval process that you guys can share with people, kind of let them know. You are always welcome to send a loan officer's phone number and we'd be happy to answer those questions for them. But if you're on the spot and you have this with you, it's just something easy to answer their questions really quick.
I also love that it's laminated, because when I'm on the phone, I can like highlight and stuff too.
Yeah.
At the clients, it's just kind of so convenient, but I love these little sheets. I've been using them. So.
Oh, good, that's good, yeah.
I have a question about the quick appraisal that you guys are doing. Since it's in-house, like, is it still competitive? Like, people, I feel like kind of crap their pants when they see how much an appraisal costs. So how much, or is
So
it
we fund
more?
everything up front.
Okay,
It's the standard $450.
okay,
And we front title, we front appraisals, we front credit reports. They
Nice.
don't pay for anything until they close.
okay, that's great.
And I
Great to
just
know.
worked on an IT loan for 2 months. And there was just some issues with some construction in the basement. He decided he didn't want to get the permits, walked away. We've already paid for title, we've already paid for appraisal, and we're not charging him for anything.
Okay,
We don't do that until they close, so,
great, thank you.
yeah.
That's different.
I love it. And states you're licensed in?
Utah, Colorado, Idaho, and we will be in California by January.
Okay.
And we're also, I don't know if I'm supposed to disclose this yet, but
Don't
we have one more
decide.
minute. We have a really awesome marketing program for you guys that we are about to roll out in January. We have brought in some real estate expert coaches, and a handful of us are being trained as real estate agent coaches. It's a
Awesome.
really intense program, but it's like 0 to 1 million in your first year, or from there. So that's what we're working on. If anyone wants to be involved in that, it's completely free to you guys as well. Just because we know if we help you with your business, it helps ours. We're all on the same team. So be
Awesome.
watching for that.
Very cool.
Well, we'll hear more about that in January, I'm sure, because I think you're coming back for sure with Kevin,
Yeah.
right?
And in November with my homebuyer psychology.
In November. She just got that, she got that sign up link for like save to her favorites. I love that. Okay, guys, you guys that are here, she brought us